Well, Dan.
Well,
this is it.
Jared,
We did it.
this is what? What is this?
The final frontier.
The final frontier. Space.
Yes.
Oh, that's the final countdown. Oops.
No. We've reached the apex of movie reviewing, and I think we're done. I think we're just gonna pack our bags.
Damn.
And,
There's so many more films to review.
Yep. Well, we've reviewed them all, actually, if you think about it.
161 movies.
Yep. That's all.
That's
of them.
it. We did it.
Yeah, there's no more films, and I feel like we're just gonna get on our horses and put on our little cowboy hats and our little chappy chaps.
Can you shoot me
ride off
first so
into the
I
sunset.
can fly up into the sunset?
Yeah, we can do that.
Cool.
Anything for you, bud. So this is hi guys.
Hi.
This is the old boys, and this is I guess our final episode.
Yeah. It's a short
Yikes.
one. It'll be a short one at least, so you don't have to listen to us all the way through. Like we know.
Mm-hmm.
We know you don't do that.
So okay, we're not technically done doing podcasts, but we're done doing this podcast.
Correct. We are trying to rebrand ourselves. So if you are already listening and you love us, well, we're not going anywhere far. But we are trying to get more people like you who do love us and want to listen to us. So
Yes.
the best way to do that is to do something that nobody else has done. And surprisingly, like in this weird miracle way of how the fuck did this happen?
Yeah.
Nobody has done an actual indie film podcast, or they have, but they just don't call themselves an indie film review podcast. They just kind of, I don't know. Jared, you're the one that
Yes.
researched it a little bit more.
So there are indie film review podcasts. So my new idea was to do a more focused podcast on films because we like talking about films. It's fun for us. But I'm thinking like, well, what's a spot of filmmaking that doesn't get reviewed or is not focused on in podcast form? And I'm pretty sure that would be indie films. And I looked around. I found some indie review podcasts, but some of them were either reviewing movies that weren't independent films, which I thought was questionable, given that they were saying they were an independent review podcast. So I don't understand that. And then others where they'd maybe just do like a minute or so. So it'd be like a few minutes reviewing a movie or a short film. And so we want to do a more long form compared to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do maybe a 40 to 50 minute kind of shorter version of what we do on this podcast that's more structured. And I mean, we're still gonna have goofs and gaffs, but
All the goofs, all the gaps,
On-
of course.
but on a regimen and a highly
Well,
regimented schedule.
what's fascinating to me, Jared, is
Yes.
you brought up this name to me for this new show, and I'm like, are you sure it's not taken?
It's
So
not.
the new show is literally going to be called Indie Film Review, and that's why I'm so surprised by the world at this point that nobody has taken that name for a podcast.
I don't know. I have no idea how it's happened.
It's just falling into our laps, as if to say it's yours. You may take it.
Yes.
Now
And-
we have been, reviewing independent films. Like any Netflix original film is technically an independent film. And we have, I remember distinctly, we reviewed quite a few independent movies as well on the Old Boys podcast. So it's not going to stray too far. We're still going to make fun of the films. We're still going to praise the films, things like that.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Also, just looking it up again to make sure I'm not crazy. The biggest indie podcast I found is called Indie Film Hustle. It seems like a really cool podcast, actually. But they talk about making films. They make like how to make independent films. He looks like he's interviewing people who are in the business, which sounds really cool. But we're going to be doing a totally different thing. We're only going to be reviewing the independent films.
And we're going to sit down and we're going to analyze them like we did with, all the other films. So
Yes.
it's like, I'm going to use my master's degree still, and I'm going to
yes.
tear apart or put back together movies.
That's right.
Yes.
I'm going to use my high school diploma degree. My participation trophy from Little League will guide me through all of the films we watch.
Yes.
Yes.
Participation trophy.
That banana bread I had this morning will really help me review.
It will rise with me like the yeast.
Yes.
Rose inside of it.
I was born in the yeast.
In the east,
I don't know
excuse
what's
me?
happening. I don't know what's happening. And that's the kind of fun you can expect on the indie film review. I don't know if there's any more.
I
really
was
to
molded
say.
by the
I
yeast.
mean, who knows what I'm thinking? I don't know what's happening anymore. But I think it'll be fun. I don't think we're going to be stepping on too many toes as far as the indie thing.
And if we do, who gives a shit? Because it's me, and I'm going to tell them straight up, hey, bro,
No,
why don't
we
you
don't
start
wanna
making your shit?
We don't want to start fights. I think there's enough room for another silly podcast about reviewing independent
Are
films,
you
which
sure?
I honestly don't think there are.
I don't think it can, like, imagine that, the world of podcasting is a balloon. I think one more is going to make it pop. So we are going to be the reason why the podcast industry implodes on itself.
Honestly, think about how many movie review podcasts there are, and then think about how many horror movie review podcasts there are.
Right?
There's so many. So it's like we're trying to do something a little different, I think. So we'll
Jared,
see.
do you remember
I
the
think
show
it'll be good.
Melrose Place?
Yes, I have all of those episodes memorized. Just don't ask me any questions about Melrose Place, and just believe me.
Speaking of all the episodes of Melrose Place, while we have been on this podcast, I believe a podcast called Melrose something friended me on Instagram, and all they do is talk about episodes of Melrose Place.
Yeah. So we don't want to go that niche. I don't want to put ourselves into a corner.
But if
where
you
it's
had to, what show would you do?
I was listening to, because I'm a big nerd, at one point I was listening to a podcast about Twin Peaks. And
Oh,
they would go
really?
over episodes of Twin Peaks. Yeah, that's a very niche
Yeah, that's extremely
podcast.
niche.
For sure, because like, what happens when the show is done? What do? You're like,
You go back and talk about all the characters and the lore.
Yeah, I guess you could get like.
Oh, dude, we could fucking do a Dark Souls podcast.
Oh fuck yeah, dude! Fucking Dark Souls, man. What's your build, dude?
I'm talking about the story, jackass.
I got a quality fucking dex strength build. It's all of them all at once. I'm fucking out of control. I got 2 great demon axes out of my ass. Anyways, talk about the story and stuff. Oh no, well, I mean, there's great YouTubers who do that.
Well,
we
there's not a great podcaster until it's us.
That's true. I would love to do a movie, or not a movie, derp, a video game podcast with you.
Yeah.
And then we'd have 2 podcasts, and making one podcast is hard enough.
It really is.
You know
Nobody
what I mean?
appreciates the work that we put into this.
If we ever actually get paid for doing this, like if enough people actually cared, I would definitely do a video game podcast with you if you wanted.
That sounds
If
about right.
If I could leave my job. This is an easy thing to say. If I could get paid $1 million an episode, I would definitely take the trash out when I'm supposed to once a week. What do you say? Well, Dan, do you have any final little thoughts on...
No, just find us at Indie Film Review from now on. It may take a couple weeks to get set up, and we will make sure that we don't lose you in the process.
Yeah, we'll try to transition as best as we can. But yeah, Indie Film Review is going to be the new podcast. We're working on the logo and logistics, and Dan's writing music because he's very talented.
Very talented.
And, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's exciting. It's fun to kind of kill your baby and make a new thing.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to kill babies and make new ones.
For sure. Yeah. It's the circle of life. Sometimes you just gotta, get rid of that baby.
Sometimes. I believe the expression was "kill your darlings," but like we made it vulgar and gross.
No, I've heard "kill your babies" too.
I've not heard "kill your babies."
Know, dude.
Kill your fleshy offspring. All the flesh. Kill it.
Well, it's like what's more personal, It's something we put a lot of time and effort into, and now it's we're more like a cocoon.
Yes.
And
Kill your cocoon. Stab your cocoon.
No. Don't know, because we're still inside it, and now we're emerging into a beautiful butterfly. Oh. Yes.
Oh, okay. So after a couple weeks, figure the new year, like a couple weeks in the new year, just forget the cocoon of the Old Boys podcast and be following Indie Film Review if you want to hear the same nonsense and practical joking that you've come to love.
The beautiful butterfly.
The beautiful butterfly that is
the Indie Film Review.
I just imagine a butterfly with my like disgusting face on it, like a Cronenberg butterfly.
Oh shit! Oh man, I'm sure it would be somehow sexual too, knowing Cronenberg.
Oh yeah,
fucking
of course,
pervert.
Of course.
Probably got like dildo eyes or something crazy. All right, I think that's it.
Yeah,
I mean,
find us at. Now, find us at or on Twitter at Indie Film Pod.
Yep.
You can email us at theindiefilmreview@gmail.com. Don't have an Instagram yet, but we're working on it. You can find us on Facebook as Indie Film Review.
Yep.
So that's where we're going to be. We will keep you posted. By the time this
airs, all of those should be up and running.
Yes.
So, and it's going to be theindiefilmreview@gmail.com because I could not find somebody already had Indie Film Review.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll make all of this stuff very apparent later on. But yeah, guys, I love all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for even thinking about considering listening to maybe 1/10 of anything we do. I really appreciate it.
Amen.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hold on.
What?
Don't I get a final word?
Oh, fine. Unbelievable. This is prima donna over here. Hey, Dan.
You want to take that again?
Hey, Dan.
Yeah, what's up?
You have the final word.
Rosebud.